Mary Murphy, my friend, I'm so excited for you this morning to interview you and talk to you about how you are being a solution in team building and leadership. Welcome.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to talk to you. We could have sat backstage for another hour just chit chatting. So
You
I'm
know,
excited to be here with
as
you.
I say, in the green room. In the
Yes.
green room, we were talking about your move.
Hmm.
You're moving, you're picking yourself up. You're not a tree, apparently.
That's right.
You're picking yourself up and your family, and you're moving to from Marlton, New Jersey to Chandler, Arizona, which is not too far from Phoenix. I mean, from Scottsdale, right?
Yeah,
Phoenix.
it's Phoenix, Scottsdale, that
This is
Phoenix
not
metro
in the
area.
whole hub. So people are
Mhm.
like, Mary, how are you doing it, Mary? You mean you have a thriving real estate business here in the Burlington, Camden County areas of, and I guess Gloucester you do, of New
Mhm.
Jersey. How are you picking yourself up and poof?
Because I think we can do whatever we want to do. I built this off of expireds and for sale by owners. My team is thriving here. And, I don't think location is important. They're still going to thrive. In fact, people think I'm crazy when I'm like, well, what's really great is the time zone because I can just start working at 6 a.m. and it'll be 9 here. So, and I'm excited about that because I really can get a lot done. I'm very efficient and I know how to manage my calendar. I also believe in myself. So if you believe in yourself and you just make a decision, then I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not trying to live in some utopian world that moving all the way across the country, 2,500 miles away, is just going to be like poof, and I'm just going to have a thriving business there. But I believe that I will have a thriving business there and here. And
Okay,
so
so let's
you don't have to live like if you're not happy, move. You're not a tree. Like you focused on that. And it's not that I'm not happy. It's that would I have chosen to live where I live? And I didn't. And most of us don't choose where we live, right? We're born somewhere and we have roots and then we build those roots and we meet somebody and a lot of us just stay. And they say the average American lives what? Within 20 miles of where they were born.
yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and I've decided that's not going to be me. So
And
anyway, we're moving
I
to Arizona and I'm going to let you guys all follow me. And I'm sure it's going to be a fun and wild and crazy ride, but I am also sure that I'll figure it out.
well, I'm super excited for you, and I'm very happy and proud of your decision to pick yourself up and move your family across the country. I know it's not an easy thing to do, and I'm sure the decision wasn't made in jest. I'm sure there was a lot of thought that went around it, and pros and cons. And so I wish you the best with all that. And I would love, and make sure you document that journey.
I really will. And I wanted to go back to saying the lot of thought and all of that. You know what? I do. I put so much thought into everything I do, but that doesn't mean I take a really long time making a decision. And I really think that my superpower is my sense of urgency. So when I make a decision about something, it's immediate action. And so it wasn't a long decision about Arizona. I'm going to
So
talk
how did, so
about my team growth and I'm going to talk about how we got where we are. And so for the past full year, we've really been we know the market's changed. And we've really been just dissecting every single piece of our business, what works, what doesn't, what's giving us an ROI and what's not, what we can cut and what we shouldn't cut, what do we double down on, what do we triple down on, and what do we get rid of. And it was just a conversation with my husband where I said, and he's my director of operations, where I said, if we were to start this all over from scratch, if we were to erase everything and start over, would we do it in New Jersey? And he said, F no, we wouldn't. And I said, okay, well, so let's not. And he said, all right, where are we going to go? And then that started the process. And that was only about 2 months ago. That was about 2 months ago. And it's not that I'd never thought about leaving, but then we just started talking about it. Okay, what would that look like? And I don't know if you've ever read the book. If you haven't, you should. And it's 10x is better than 2, or 10x is easier than 2x by Dan Sullivan.
I
And
have,
really it is, you have to get to different. So we just decided that we were going to do it. We put all the things in place. We figured out what would have to happen in order to make that work. Who would be able to step up into leadership? Would my assistant be able to run the team here? Would my agents be on board? And now that process is going. And so the reason why I'm going there is that you said you probably didn't make this decision in jest, and I didn't. but I didn't take a long time making it either. One of my first coaches in my early career, I was leaving a team. It was the last team that I left, and I was going out on my own. And I had made the decision really fast. And I said to her, "Is this impulsive?" And she said, "Mary, no, you're not impulsive at all. You think every detail through. You're just really, really fast." And it was one of the things that has really shaped me as a business owner and as a woman to be okay with that. Because sometimes we're like, we made this decision fast. I feel like I should have some indecision. I feel like I should be wavering. I feel like I should be making pros and cons lists. And you don't have to. I mean, you should understand and be fully prepared and think of every detail, but that doesn't mean you have to go back into indecision all the time. And that's why I think people have such paralysis from analysis. Analyze, but don't be paralyzed. Analyze and then decide. And so that's who I am. And so, yes, we're moving across the country, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be beautiful, and it might suck. And and no matter what happens, we're going to figure something out, and we're going to do that by making the next best decision every single time.
So you had to go get your Arizona license. How long did that take?
So I'm in the process now. Luckily, Arizona, it isn't reciprocal, but they don't make you start all over. So I only have to take a 9-hour. I've got to do a 9-hour class and take the test. And the 9 hours is on my own time. So I've already started that. I had to get my fingerprints first, wait for them to come back. So I did that right away.
And where are you hanging your license?
I'm sorry?
Where are you hanging your license?
Well, I'm with Real Broker, and so I'll stay with Real. It's a cloud-based brokerage. It's very easy for me to be in both states. It doesn't affect my cap. There's no brick and mortar, so I'll be working from home at first, which I have a beautiful office here in Marlton, a huge, beautiful office here in Marlton. So I won't be used to not working from home, but there's like a health club there that has some office space I can go to that's close to my new house. So
did you rent or did you buy?
In Arizona, did I rent or buy? I rented a place that is open to allowing me to purchase. So in 6 months, we did make the decision fast, and I don't know enough about the different subdivisions in the Phoenix metro. So we're going to rent at first. I don't like to rent as a real estate agent. Renting actually makes me tighten up inside.
That's okay short term, but
it's okay short term. And I think it's smart short term, actually.
Maybe in a year or two to get to know where you
it's going to be 6 months to a year that I will rent, and to make sure that that's the right spot. And I did a lot of research on schools, on areas. I don't think that I would be leaving the schools. I just think that maybe that's not the right street. Who knows? Right. So
of course.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about this a little bit more, about decision making. And I feel like the industry, with all of the hoops, with all of the challenges, I think a lot of people are a bit paralyzed. I think that you can continue to jump through every hoop, and then another one comes. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, really? Like, it comes to be, and I think a lot of people are thinking this right now, is it all worth it?
I mean,
it's just a thought. It's just a thought. Like, I'm talking like generalizations, real estate industry wide, with everything that's happening and the difficulty of the market that it's been the last 2 years. I think there's a lot of that going on.
I think that's always going to go on. And I think that if you don't want to burn it all down and quit at least once a day, then you're not probably moving fast enough. So yeah, there's a lot of indecision, and you don't know. And there's so many factors that come into our world. And now, of course, we have those outside focuses with the commission lawsuits. And I know that everyone's thinking about that. And what should we do? And then there's team building. And we're working with so many people are involved in each part of our transactions and our teams and everything, that it's a lot of balls in the air at all times. And sometimes we're scared they're all going to fall on the ground. So I think that stress, it's part of our world. So we have to just figure it out. And that's why I said it's always making that next best decision. As one of my favorite quotes, it's The only thing worse than making the wrong decision is making no decision at all. And I'm probably paraphrasing it wrong. So yeah, I think there are a lot of people right now who are thinking, let me just wait and see. And I don't think waiting and seeing is the right decision for anything we do in life. So
Certainly not.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been successful in team building. It's something you've done very well. What do you attribute it to?
I probably attribute it to all the times I've been unsuccessful. Right. So once I realized I have a little phrase in there, teamwork makes the dream work sometimes. Do you see that?
Yes.
I didn't put that there for this one. That was a previous podcast, but you know what? It still works on this one. But yeah, I have been successful with building a team, and I've been really unsuccessful. And so I think that the people who are the most successful are the ones who make the most mistakes and learn from those mistakes and then build it again. So I would say that I attribute to the fact that I'm humble, that I'm willing to be in rooms with people like you who have been doing it longer and a lot of times better than me, and that you're also humble and we learn from each other and we just keep on going. So that's really the only way to be successful, I would think. I've hired a lot of the right people and I've hired way more of the wrong people. And I've been really pleasantly surprised by how amazing and good people are. And I've been really burned. And so I think that's it.
So you're starting a team all over again.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do differently this time?
So I think what I'm going to do, what I'll do differently this time. One, it doesn't matter where I am. All the past experiences are there. So I think there's a couple of things that I know that, one, you can't sit down in an interview and know if someone's going to be a rock star or not. You and I have both been trained by Chef Black. We both know we can, and what does he say? You can disc them, you can KPI them, you can do all those things, and you're never going to know until you see them in action and you hold them accountable. And so I think that what I have made the biggest mistake in, and I think a lot of us have, is not holding people truly accountable to what they said they wanted, right? So understanding what they want and what their true why and what their true goal is, and then just reminding them of that consistently and seeing if they're willing to be promise keepers and willing to show up and do the work and do what they said they were willing to do. And that's what I'll do differently now, is that when someone sits down in front of me and they tell me what they want and we go down that path, I'm going to give them everything that I can possibly give them for them to show up for themselves. And if they won't show up for themselves, we're not going to be a good fit, because they're not going to like the amount of accountability that I put on myself and on them. And people don't want to be around people who are really big thinkers if they're not willing to do that. Instead, they want to be victims. And a lot of times I've allowed people to be victims and I've taken it personal. And I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
That's it.
Personal.
And I have all the systems, and we can talk about systems and CRMs and leads and leverage and all of that other stuff. And that's all there already. It's not that. So it's really just finding the right people to do it with and allowing to let the wrong people to be wrong and say what they want and move out of my life.
So are you going to work with your current team currently? Meaning, like, is your admin going to do your admin work? And
she's going to have to figure it out too. Right? We've always worked right next to each other, hand in hand. She's always been my right hand. She's always picked up all the slack, and, we work really well together. And I also think we're really codependent in some ways, where it's like she needs to also make decisions and get things done without always looking for my approval, because she knows what she's doing. She's been doing it with me for over 5 years now. She can answer an email in my voice. There's no reason for her to ask me if it's not that she asks me for every email, but really she's going to have her independence as well. And it's not just her. So I also have Shane, who's an agent on my team. He's been on my team for about 2.5 years. He'll sell 40 houses this year. He's got 9 closing in July. He's going to step in also as a sales manager, which is a whole nother goal for him and skill for him. So I'm going to be next to him, teaching him how to be a leader, how to hold people accountable. And so that's another challenge for both of us. But I also believe that when people start succeeding at a high level, they look for more responsibility. They look for more, and that's who he is. And so that's what he's going to get. That's what Jen's going to get. right? So they're both going to have different roles, but I'll still be there on Zoom, and I can fly back to New Jersey. A plane is not hard to get on. I don't mind. You can even get Wi-Fi. I work the whole time I'm on the plane. It doesn't even really affect my life.
I know several people who have moved and worked from afar. Not a lot, but a few. Sherry Benjamin is one of them. I don't know if you know Sherry.
I know her, but I didn't know she did that.
Oh yeah, she lives in Las Vegas, and her business is in Atlanta now. She's in other markets, but her main business was in Atlanta, and she lived in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Because her family, somebody's school, not school, but sports or something. I don't know. Forget. But
we can do so much more now. Like, look at us having a conversation right now with you in Philly and me in Jersey. You could be in Philly and I could be in Arizona. You could be in China and I can be in Philly.
well, I'm never be in China, so we can forget that. I'm never going there.
So don't go to
Anyway,
China. And we'd also be like on total opposite time zones. That might be a little, but it doesn't matter. We don't need to be in the same room.
No, so team building though is like more than just getting people together in a room, right? I think I've seen anyway teams where they say they're a team, but really are they a team? It's just like a bunch of people together. And I don't necessarily think that makes people a team. It's more about, the accountability, the structure.
Well, are we all rowing the boat together? Do we all have the same, we can't all have the exact same goal, right? Because everyone does everything for their own purpose, right? But do we all fulfill the needs of each other? So that when you talk about a team, that's just a bunch of people together, they're a group and they're not necessarily a team. And who, is there a purpose? What is the purpose of being in that group together, right? So it's hard because a lot of times our teams are compared to groups. And a group can be a whole bunch of people working under one brand name, with one mega agent who gets to beat their trusts and hold the trophies while they're not even profitable, or they're not really building each other together. Whereas a team, for us, I'm putting my trust, my resources, my database, my money, a lot of my money, into these people. And what I know that I can do is that if they're with me and they take advantage of everything I provide for them, they're going to have a better life and they're going to net more money. They're going to have more money in their pocket. They're going to have more opportunity. They're going to have insurance. They're going to have consistency. They're going to have all these things that they're not going to have as part of a group. But if you compare my team to some other group and you don't really understand that, well, it's like comparing apples and oranges. It's just not the same.
No.
And I think that that's a challenge that you and I, Maria, will always face. Because I'm going to be really blunt here. On a group, your split's going to be higher. Your split's going to be higher because it's all about the value. What value are you being provided? And how is that going to help your bottom line and help you get to your goals? If you're part of a team like mine, I'm going to invest so much in you that you're going to net more money, but I can't pay you the way a group who's adding nothing for you can pay you. Why? Because there isn't enough there. I wouldn't be able to build it. So just being blunt, that it really is a lot of the difference. Also, it's not about me. A lot of those groups, it really is about that leader, and they care more about working for the trophy and the recognition than they care about working for their people. And that's not who we are. We're about working for our people. And that starts with our clients.
One by one.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all you can do is one by one. What's some advice you would give people today who are struggling? And I mean, I see it from all aspects. I'm talking about very successful individuals, brokers, team leaders, team members. There's a lot of, it's difficult, a lot of difficulty.
So what advice I would give them is, what to do. Just do it. You know what to do. So if your goal is to lose weight, eating a cheeseburger and French fries every single day for dinner is not going to get you there. You know what to do. You don't need to hire the most expensive health coach to tell you you're eating too many calories. It's the same thing in real estate. You know what you have to do. If you want to sell houses, you got to talk to more people. It's all mindset, action, and skill. But the action, that's the most important part, because the skill is going to come with it. And so is the mindset when you start getting the wins. So it's mindset, action, skill. Take the action. That's it. That's all it is. And I don't think it matters. You can hire the most expensive coaches. You can go to I know agents, so do you, that go to every single training, coaching. Lenders throw a lunch and learn. The title company throws a lunch and learn. I'm like, what are you even doing? You haven't even sold a house this year. There's more important things for you to do. You don't need to learn the contract until you have a contract. Go meet people. And so that's what I would say, is that I think that people spend too much time doing the wrong things because they're scared of doing the things that they know they should be doing. And then you just need to go do the work. If you're having financial issues, go do the work. If, your skills aren't there, go do the work. It doesn't matter what it is. That's it. Yeah. And get around the right people. That's another one I will really say. Get around the right people and consume the right information. Stop watching Real Housewives and pick up a book. Stop going to the happy hours where everybody's gloom and doom and talking about how real estate is, their clients suck and other agents suck and the money sucks and commissions are compromised and we're not making any money and the market sucks and there's no houses on the market. Get out of those rooms. Get out of those rooms. There's more of those rooms than the ones that you and I go into, but find the ones that you and I go into, because that's not what we're talking about.
Maybe hide in your own room.
Create your own room. But don't go to those ones anymore. I had made conscious decisions because, I also have to recruit to build my team, but I had to make conscious decisions on what I was saying yes and no to. And I say no to a lot.
If you say yes, then that means that you have to say no to something else.
That's right. Every time you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to another thing. And I'm going to tell a little story. I was at a different brokerage, and I believed in that brokerage, and I still do. But I was building it, and I was so focused on the culture of this company and of this office that I wasn't even paying attention to the fact that the amount that I was doing was actually making me so much more stressed in my own business and life. So while I was drowning, I was trying so hard to help build something else, right? It wasn't giving back to me, right? Everything has to be a win-win. If it's not a win-win, you have to recognize that and stop. It's like giving to a bad relationship. They're not going to change. So you have to figure that out. But the reason I'm telling this story is it's always recognizing it. So I can remember this specific event where I'm in this German wench costume for this Oktoberfest that I had planned for a whole bunch of agents that were already at the and I looked down at myself and I remember this epiphany, and there's been a lot of them. I can give a lot of examples, but for whatever reason, that one comes to mind. And I looked down and I'm like, what the actual F am I doing right now? I'm an agent. I'm selling 70 homes on my own. Going through assistance like water. I'm literally drowning and I don't know what the heck I'm doing throwing this party. And so it's little things like that where I can look back and think, if you ask what's been successful for me, it's recognizing that and being like, you know what? This is not getting me to the 3 to 5 year goal. This is not getting me to the large goal. And so although I'm doing good, I'm giving back and this is fun and it's changing. I wouldn't say it's changing lives, but I would say it's adding to the culture. It's good. It's good, but it's not great. It's good and it's not getting me to my goal. So it's understanding that and saying no to things that are good. We can all say, don't go out and get wasted every night. You're not going to be successful. We can all say, don't hang out with losers or you're not going to be successful. It's the good things that are the hardest things to say no to. It's the agents that aren't selling enough that are now building coaching companies, right? Well, your real estate team is not profitable. And now you're building a coaching company that's not profitable. And now you're trying to recruit and that's not and now you're doing all of these things. And so I don't know if I went on a tangent there, but that's kind of where my mind always is that it's paying attention to what I'm doing right now. And if it makes sense.
Pick something and be 150% focused on the outcome. Know your mission, your vision, your drive. Wake up every day and say, who do you serve?
Right. And when something's working, but you're bored, you got to keep doing it anyway. right?
Oh,
It's not
no.
always exciting, right? So my jersey business, for example, my jersey business is going. Now, is it a well-oiled machine? Not 100%. So I can't remove myself from it. But I'm also not going to burn it down and move across the country. What I'm going to do is I'm still going to water it. I'm still going to make sure that it flourishes because I spent a lot of time building it. And while that is running, I'm going to go run something else. And I think a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, business-minded, self-employed, we get bored and then we go burn that down and we go start something else. It's keeping the wheels turning on all of them and letting know when to stop. You know, it's not easy. It's not
For
easy though.
certain. For certain.
You know,
It is
I was
not.
doing so many events. I was doing all these women's masterminds and they were so fun. I really have a passion around that and I'm going to do it again. I don't have time for that now. I had to start saying no to that.
Yep.
Wasn't
I hear you're preaching to the choir, girl.
Well, you are so consistent. I've been watching you with your consistency and putting it out there in public is probably the hardest part because now you've told everyone and there's people who are rooting for you and the people who are watching you closer are the ones who are waiting for you to fail. And so when you put it out there, that's a whole other level of accountability is making it public. And so I'm proud of you for doing that.
Day 40.
Day 40, that's amazing. And it's inspiring.
Yep.
I know you want that glass of wine sometimes after some of these days.
That is true. It's been rough. I mean, it is. It is what it is. But I'm tough. So you just keep on.
Right.
And it's Friday.
Yeah.
It's Friday. I actually, in the summers, look forward to Friday. In the winter, I still work on Saturdays more in the winter, but in the summer is my time. I'm a summer baby. I was born in August, and summer is my time. My time to play, my time to have fun. I have friends coming down that I haven't hung out with like for a weekend in a long time. My girlfriend and her boyfriend to the summer house, so it'll be fun. We'll leave after we have sales meetings on Tuesdays. Oh my God, on Fridays at our company, 2:00. Friday at 2:00. You know why? It's the least productive time of the week.
Yeah.
Fridays at 2:00. So it's the least productive time. So I started doing sales meetings last September. I think it was September. Fridays at 2:00. And that's what we do.
So you have the committed. If they're showing up Friday at 2:00, they're telling you right away if they're committed to this goal.
The non-committed ones I've 86 them. They're gone.
Right.
Either they exited themselves or I exited them, as nicely as, we can.
That's the hardest thing, I would say. That's one of the hardest things is that your intentions are good. And when someone's not working or they're not showing up or they're not accountable, they don't always
go sell lemonade.
I mean, they don't always leave, but as much as you want it to be nice and kind and you love them off your team, they don't always leave that way no matter what, because that would mean admitting that they were not willing to put the work in. And most people aren't willing to do that.
That's right. Let's be completely transparent. 87% fail within 2 years. And I'd say in this market, maybe even higher. And it may be even quicker. So let's just use round numbers. 90% who come in don't make it. I did a whole scholarship program. I sunsetted it. It sucked. I spent 2 years of my life. It sucked the life out of me. I had to regroup from that nonsense. And I spent a ton of money, a ton of energy. Most importantly, my time that I can never get back. What did I learn? I learned that you cannot give people things. You can't, you can give a hand up. You can't give a hand out. And if you want it, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll make excuses, period, at the end.
And out of that 90% of those will not take any self-responsibility for their own failure. And so that's the part that's really hard. And that's one of the things I would say as a leader that's really hard for me every day is I'm so self-responsible. And it's sometimes hard to find a balance because when you take the blame for everything, well, then you can't blame anyone else because everything's your fault. So it's kind of hard to be like, you know what? She didn't make it because whatever it is that I didn't do.
How
Or
about this? How about this statement? She didn't make it.
she didn't make
Period.
it. Right. And so that you're right. You have to just let it go.
For me, it doesn't need to be anything else but that.
Move
It's
on.
not your responsibility. You didn't birth her or
That's
him.
right.
It's not your responsibility. Okay, everybody, the only people that can do the work, Mary, are you and
That's
me
right.
and them. If you look at all the teachings, this is my teaching of the Be the Solution podcast, okay? We are our own solution. We are our own solution. Nobody else can do it for us, no matter how bad your mom wants it, or your best friend, or your sister, or whoever. No matter how bad you want to help them, no matter how bad you want to help them stop drinking or drugging or whatever the problem is, or selling real
Get
estate.
out of debt or whatever it is. Yeah.
You can't. You can't. Nobody can. That's the thing. Nobody can. That's the whole journey, right? The 40-day journey so far.
It is.
Okay.
I really love your
The only person that can, what?
It is be the solution. It's you be the solution, right? So you're not joining my team for handouts. And that's one of the things, I think I may have said already 5 times is that's the best thing I learned or whatever it is. But one of the biggest things I learned is just like you, Maria, and me, it wasn't a handout. It was grit. It was calling for sale by owners and expireds and getting rejected over and over and over again and building the team and failing and building it and failing and hiring an assistant and failing and hiring another one and failing and hiring 10 more agents and failing and getting it wrong with the splits and getting it wrong with the profit and spending money that I shouldn't have spent or not spent. It's just doing the wrong thing in leadership. And it was that and doing it over and over and over and over again. But it was never handed to me. I never walked into a brokerage or a team and they were like, hey, here's everything. Here's everything I've learned. Here's everything I've done. If you just follow these steps, you're going to be successful. And then that's what I tried to do. I tried to be like, hey, let me just give you everything. And what you end up doing when you try and give people everything, it isn't their fault. That's where I can take responsibility. If you don't hold them accountable, you create very entitled people. And when people are very entitled, and I think there's a lot of entitlement in our industry now, because if they got licensed in 2020 or 2021, it was really easy. Guys, if you're listening to this, it was really easy. You weren't a rock star. You might have showed up more than you are. Like, you weren't necessarily a rock star. You only had to show up a little bit in 2021. Well,
I'd say 19, 20, after we opened. Well, you were open. 21, even 18, maybe a little bit. I think before I think there was a run for a while. And, there's a small percentage of people that have been in the business since before 2008. Only 7%.
I believe it.
Yeah. This is year 20. So I finished 20 years, excuse me. This is year 21.
It's amazing. So, and you are one of the few. And I think it's that entitlement that people sometimes have. And then that's why they're not willing to do the work now, because the work is different now and it's harder now. And if you sold 30 houses in 2021 to sell 30 houses in 2024, you're going to work a lot harder.
3 times.
3 times, 4 times. You know?
Yeah.
And that's so.
Well, teamwork makes the dream work.
I know. I'm so cracking up that that's even on there. But that was an event that I did. It was a teamwork makes the dream work sometimes. Isn't that the truth?
Isn't that the truth? All right. So before we wrap up, Mary, I got 2 questions for you. Are you ready?
Sure. I'm ready.
Number 1. What's your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure. I love to shop for furniture, like in the middle of the night. It's very weird. Home decor, furniture, sometimes shoes, but 3 a.m. on my phone buying stuff. It's weird, but I just love it. I love that time. No one's bothering me. No emails are coming in, and I am just buying stuff I probably don't need.
You're funny. I do at 3. If I'm up at 3 a.m., I would be surfing, looking for vacation spots, hotels or vacation spots to go to.
It could be that. I might even be researching real estate marketing strategies. I just love that time of night. And I know that it's, if I listen to things, I'm supposed to sleep better, but I love that time of night by myself doing whatever I want and no one asking me any questions.
Well, I'm not very happy to be up at that time. And like you, Mary, I would love to get back to sleep. But recently, since my new endeavor, I'm sleeping better. So that's good.
That is good.
Um, yeah. Okay. So we got your guilty pleasure. All right. I think I know what you're going to say to this one, but, and you can't, your kids aren't a part of this. It's only you,
Okay.
Mary. What are you most excited about your future?
My most excited about for my future. Just doing what I love. You know, being in my strength zone, not having to do the things that, well, we're always going to do some of the things we don't want to do, but I'm just excited to do this. I love this. This is going to be the highlight of my day. Sitting here chatting with you about things we love. I'm excited to do more of that. Be able to give back to an industry that I love and live in a place that I chose. That's really kind of just living life on my own terms. Freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of, you're always going to do things you don't want to do, but I like the freedom and I'm excited for that. And that's what we have here that other people don't. I know the harder I work, the more I win.
That's the truth. You got it.
Yep.
You have everything you need to continue winning, Mary. I am so happy and proud of you for making this decision to move across. You got a lot of balls. And
I heard that my whole life, and it wasn't always a good thing.
Well, right? I think it's good. So God bless. Best of luck to you and your family, and we'll see you on the other side.
Absolutely. We're going to keep in touch no matter what.